Salutations, my name is Summer and this is Sterling Reads, and I want to talk about what I am reading and what I plan to read for December. And of course, some of these are going to carry over. Anyway, one thing that I listened to that I absolutely loved, and I ordered the physical book from the library because I want my mom to read it, and I do plan to carry on with the series. It was called My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. I always want to put a D instead of a T. This book was so real and heartbreaking. It was about a woman named Lucy, and you go back to her childhood, and it goes back and forth. It talks about her relationship with her mother, the whole family dynamic, relationships with her husband, and people in school. It just, I just loved it so much. I could relate to certain things. She talks about like growing up poor and how certain things didn't matter to her, like the type of clothing that she had, the style of clothing. And she noticed that it was important to other people. And I remember, I really want to do a review on this book. I do not do reviews, but this book I really want to go back over. It's very short. I want to say it was under 5 hours of listening. So I'm sure when I get the physical book, it's not going to be very big. But it was actually one that I want to physically read and then talk about, or tell you guys my favorite parts, that when I was listening, I could relate so much. Anyway, I loved it. I will be talking about it some more. Something that I am loving also is my read of The Lawless by John Jakes. I'm going back and forth between reading physical and reading it on my Kindle because it was gifted to me, so thank you so much. But yeah, this is the 7th book in the series. This one's 796 and the next one's like 790. They're both like right under, a few pages under 800 pages. They're historical fiction, and they follow a family, and I've been following them for forever. And the covers, I know they may seem ridiculous to some people, but he lost his left eye during the Civil War, and which is a great story too of how that happened. He is one of the sons of someone who just passed in the line. So now we're at the 3 brothers. This one is supposed to be, Jeremiah is supposed to have been dead back during the Civil War, but he wasn't. He became an outlaw and a train robber and everything. And then Gideon is, and I think this is Gideon too. So Matt isn't even on this cover. Matt is in Paris trying to be an artist, but then he ended up getting married, and she left him. And she left him, it was so good that she left him, because people are different with what they need, and she needed different things than him, but she got pregnant and had a son. So this son is going to be in The Americans, the final book, which it could be him, I don't know. These covers are true to the characters. I love that also. It's a great series. I doubt if I go in depth with them, because there is so much. It picks the time, we're going through the time in history, and of course there's people who were influential during that time. So if it's any historical fiction or any historical figures around that time, they're going to be mentioned in this book, which can be convenient, but it's great. It's great, and there is drama. It keeps a pretty steady pace, so you never really feel like you're just sitting around wondering what's going to happen. It has a nice flow to it. Anyway, loving this series by John Jakes. And like I said, in December, I plan to read the final book in the series, The Americans. And I'm ready for it. Ready for it. So I don't want anything else to really distract me, but of course I am being distracted. I picked up A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. I am not far at all in it. Just very, very into the beginning. And I'm also reading that on my Kindle at work. So I haven't went back into the physical book to move my pages up to where I really am, but I'm not very far into it. But I am enjoying the characters. I cannot pronounce any of them right this minute because I'm not into it far enough where I've read them over and over. But I am liking the daughter, mother, siblings, the grandfather I just met. And of course they're trying to find a suitable boy. A suitable boy has been mentioned probably 8 times already in the book. Something else I want to just dip into. In December is Jane Austen's birthday, and all year I've been trying to read Emma, and it just has not happened because I started to read the Jane Austen book club, and Emma, and I wanted to read with them, so I was like, okay, I'll read Emma, and then I'll go back to the Jane Austen book club, which I have read before, and then I'll read the next book that they read. So it's kind of like I'm reading with the book, which may seem strange, but that was my plan. It did not happen. Maybe it'll happen next year, because I just think that would be a lot of fun. But what I do plan to do is dip in and out and read some of her letters. I like to read something by Jane Austen or something about Jane Austen in December, since it was her birthday. Okay, so I cannot remember who is hosting the John Irving Book Club read along. I do not know, but I will link Alan Reed's, Pat, and Greg. I'll link their channels down below. They are like, I'm pretty sure the 3 of them are hosts. There's probably a ton more, but they can send you in the right direction if you're interested. They're reading the Cider House Rules. I read that last month and loved it. In December, they plan to read his newest release, Queen Esther, which I want to say is a prequel to the Cider House Rules, but it might not be. But somehow it's connected. It's the same time, place, area, whatever. I have that on my Kindle because it was gifted to me, so thank you. I plan to read it on there starting in December. And I don't know if the group if it's Discord, I do not join. I do not do Discord. But if it's Voxer, I'll join and talk to people about it. So the final thing in December A Christmas Carol. I plan to reread it. I've read it a million times. I plan to read it at Christmas. It's so simple, and well, it's not really simple. It's not simple writing or anything. It's just, I know the story so well. It feels like Christmas when I read it. It just has nostalgia. It reminds me of how people should be to people, which, I know that already. But anyway, I like to reread it every year. It's become a habit, and I'm thinking I would like to I think that's Sleepy Hollow and that's A Christmas Carol, but I love those little additions too that I read. Okay, so one of the last events that's happening, I just saw it today. Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, are you coming up here? Well, here, I'll move it. You can come up. Mayfair. You see her tail. Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, he is doing a December du Maurier. I'm never gonna. Sorry, May is determined. She's determined. Du Maurier December. You just read something by her, and I think later on he'll add other family members to it. But I will link his channel down below so you can see about the event, which I usually think about reading her in September, October, but I'm going to read her in December. I'm going to try and squeeze one of her books in. And I have a couple different ones, but I didn't feel like being in Italy in December. And the other one was France, and I was like, I don't know. So I decided to I'm going to pick up The House on the Strand. So I'm not really sure what this is. I think it says something about time travel, which sounds fun. So I also think it says something about a drug. Yeah, Magnus offers him, this Dick Young, offers him an escape from his troubles in the form of a new drug. That's a lot of people's problems this day and age, trying to escape from real life. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. The only other thing that I want to mention, I'm trying not to pick it up. I was gifted King's Sorrow by Joe Hill on my Kindle, and I am trying not to pick it up. I saw the Brothers Gwynn, they did a review, no spoiler review, and it made me want to read it even more because they say, you know, he talks about books so much in it, and it had like it vibes, which they say that's I guess a lazy way of putting it, just because it's about 6 kids or something like that, a group of kids. There's May. Anyway, so yeah, those are my plans for the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. I think what's going to happen is A Suitable Boy is going to be a slow read, as long as I continue reading, you know, a couple pages or so a night, just to keep up, so that way I don't lose where I am in the characters, because I feel like if you don't stay with it, it would be easy to get kind of lost and then have to go back and reread. So that's the plans. So what are your plans for the end of the year, for the rest of November and December? It's a rainy, dreary day, which is perfect for reading. So yeah, let me know how you're doing and what you're reading, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.